Hey, you guys, I just wanted to let you know I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. It's been a really hard time. God. The Kuwaiti equivalent of the Mayo Clinic is where Sala took me, and I saw a professional, and they just don't know what's going on with me. I don't know if it's COVID or if it's the years of self-indulgence, or I don't know. I just want to bees! Damn it!
What are you doing?
I'm just letting all of them know my precarious health situation. You know, I don't want to try to distract them from anything, but it's getting pretty real.
Oh God, I just can't anymore. I can't.
By the way, did I tell you guys I hugged a feral camel? You like short hair? I can have short hair. You like blondes? I can be blonde. Hyper. You're gonna get it. Eurobees and shit. Hello everyone, I'm Steve. Marc's around. Say hi, Marc.
Hey everybody.
And this is Smokeysteveandmarc. Either welcome or welcome back, and happy Saturday. Here in Scranton, it is the St. Patrick's Day Parade, so there's a lot of people in green and a lot of green beer puke on the street. So I hope everyone's well and everyone's safe. Look after yourselves and each other. Today we're going to discuss our fair lady, Chantal Marie, Foodie Beauty, Big Beautiful Me, The Daily Chantal, Chantopolis, The Chantal Show, Chantal and Sala. Foodie Beauty again on her main channel. So last week we were live, and we just kind of checked in on the usual stuff. There was more about the cats, and the cats being rehoming. Pete's moving out and moving to another place, so he's not at the villa. No one's at the villa anymore at this point. Follow-up community post after community post, and there's more today of those, so we will share some of those as well. And well, I guess we'll just dive in. So tonight I want to talk about her rages, because she was raging as usual, and the fact that that's really her only chance at profit anymore. You know, this is what, when you work for yourself and hate your job, this is the situation I think she finds herself in. She doesn't like certain reaction channels and was going to go on break, and then all of a sudden everyone got a customized hate tab on her community post. This reactor looks like this, and that reactor looks like that, and this one has nowhere to talk, and this one's responsible for 3 deaths, and all the dumb shit. She's so freaking happy in her modest Miriam life, stuck in a room with your husband who's gone all day, because, I don't know. You know she's faking these health conditions to stay in the air conditioning. I'm just saying. Pete's got some new digs, but he also doxed himself. We'll mention that. She is so sick and so in need of care. This was what we left off with, how this time I think she's actually a little bit sick, so we'll see. But let's just dive in, and I'm going to go in and out of using my glasses because I need them. I broke my new ones. These are the old ones. I need them, but they cause glare. I'm torn, but we'll just jump right in. So Chantal rages. I know, don't look so surprised. She rages more than she showers. It's her only mildly interesting content at the moment. We're in Kuwait now, both of them, and there's no intention to return to Canada, allegedly, and she's just going to stay there. So I don't think she's, like, thrilled with life right now. I get the impression that she's kind of unhappy, but what that turns into is being angry at everybody else, because she can't be responsible for her feelings. Somebody else has to be. So, people love a good rage. Especially, like, viewers sometimes have legitimate reasons to be upset, and she takes that as bullying. She doesn't do any self-reflection at all about that. She must know at this point it's all everyone pretty much, like, wants to see, is that. No one cares about going into the desert. Nobody cares about boring couple vlogs watching 2 people who look like they don't like each other hang out. What's attractive about that? What brings it in? You know, if it wasn't Chantal by name, how big would that channel be? If it was any other woman in her position without her ridiculous level of, I don't want to call it fame, infamy, maybe? Who's going to want to see a person they don't like schlep through the desert? It's not as interesting. Everything is better in Kuwait. This was a rage. Everything's better in Kuwait. Certainly the medical care, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Mayo Clinic of Kuwait City, I tell you. The food, the interactions between men and women. She would say often, I don't expect you guys to understand. No, I don't expect you to understand. Whatever. So everything's better there. Everything she's seen from the car window, because aside from going into the desert, doing little camping, they don't like get around too much on foot. I mean, it's him driving and eye fucking himself in the camera while she's trying to talk to her phone and comfortably position herself in the car that she's in, which, no shade. People outgrow clothes. People outgrow relationships. They often don't outgrow cars. And that's something she might want to look at if she wants to be comfortable going forward. You know, if she's just going to plateau at this weight or gain a little bit, it's always going to be uncomfortable. No one's going to come in and fix it or make it better unless she switches to like a van with a lift or something like that. So she is the portrait, of course, of this modest woman. And after these rages, she says she's going to take a break and that she can take said break. This was edited into the post. Because her husband takes care of her, 100% takes care of her. So she can do that. I don't believe that at all, that the lucrative business where he sells Febreze for people is all of a sudden going to be a big business and she's not going to have to do anything at all. I think they're like conning each other and it's kind of fun to watch because neither of them are very bright, but they're very good at manipulating. It's funny. I think it's funny. She raged at French Fry Girl when she was doing all her raging, but other people too. She was kind of hitting everybody in the community. Let's see. She's going to be a TikTok star anyway, so she doesn't need YouTube. She says she doesn't need to be here. TikTok is flooded with people more interesting. And the kind of bullshit that happens on YouTube in things that turn into drama, it happens on TikTok. It happens on all of them. But I don't think she's going to get anyone to care that she's mad. If she goes on TikTok, what's she going to do? Go online and, like, how long does she think people are going to want to watch? It's a different demographic. It's people with different attention span. The content is typically one length, not the other. People do go on live, but what would if I had never heard of Chantal, and if you're off YouTube, you know, unless you're in the other communities, you might not have, what's going to suddenly inspire me to start watching her if she's on TikTok? What? Her talking to someone? Her talking about herself? I can't think of anything to bring somebody in. She loves to throw her eggs like in the next basket. Like, yeah, life sucks now, but when this happens, I'm going to be set up. And then that falls through. And then the next thing, well, if YouTube falls through, I'm set up for TikTok. Well, it fell through with Natter, but I found a man who has eyes only for me. Okay. So she's going to take a break. She said she didn't take a break at all. She's ready to rage pretty much at any time. And it's really not easy for her to hold her tongue. And I wonder if she's not thinking, for all the differences in culture between men and women and the power dynamics and everything, she's out there on her own trying to defend herself. Isn't she married? Doesn't she have a man in the house who can actually, like, defend her and take up for her and tell everyone else to, you know, shut up and leave her alone and all that stuff? He's not. He's just letting her fix it yourself. Fix it yourself. Send the check. Let me know. Otherwise, handle it. So doesn't seem engaged in the idea of defending or protecting her from the things that could hurt her, because he knows it's profitable too. You know, there's a lot of folks who don't know their ass from their elbow, but when it comes to money and manipulation, they're like pretty good at it. He only has to con Chantal. You don't have to be that much of a genius to con Chantal. She'll hear what she wants to hear, especially in a romantic kind of setting. So, oh, dear. So as far as these kind of customized greetings Chantal sent, she went on her community post and in true Chantal form, posted comments, petty, insults, physical insults. Everything she says is gross about everyone else in the community. She particularly put up something about French Fried Girl, which I'll show you in a minute. But suffice it to say, it was a lot of smaller channels. I think a lot of people didn't know or didn't know existed. And so she really legitimized them by saying they upset her. I think not all at all, but there's probably some reactors out there that would consider her attention to be a mark of success. Look, I got my way into her circle. Now she'll be mad at me and I'll, have a bigger channel and, and that's fine. I guess that's going up the ladder. When you go up the ladder of reacting to Chantal, you have to be ready for the first conflict because it's gonna happen. So she, back-to-back posts, she's defending herself against the meanies who are coming after her. I don't really think... she's firing back, so she says that whatever she says is perfectly okay to say. So if it's look shaming, job shaming, fertility shaming, size shaming, she decides it's perfectly fine to do back. Perfectly fine, because it was done to her first. That is so fourth grade. Like, you started it. Grow the fuck up. You're like 40 almost, and supposed to be married and mature and modest and having that kind of life. You're telling us it's the kind of life you want, but the kind of life you seem to want to live is the one that we see on YouTube with all the aggravation and the anger and I can't believe this and that. And it probably, like I said, is hard because it sounds like now she hates her job, but she has no other source of income. And to hate your job but be your own boss and can't change the direction of your channel because the one you hate makes the most money, is that karma too? Kinda? I don't know. Karma right here, right now. You want to survive, you have to do with this shit every single day. If you want to be wealthy off your channel, you got to escalate it too. I know she thinks the only people you have to answer to are the police, but I think she should be aware that in Kuwait, laws are different than they are in Canada. I don't know if she contemplated this, but there might be different repercussions for her for things she does in Kuwait versus what she does in Canada. We only have to answer to the cops. Cops in Kuwait have different motives sometimes. And in other countries, it's not so different either. So just be careful there. Now I'm going to show you the thing that was posted about French Fried Girl. Now, Chantal, I don't know, this came from Kiwi Farms or something similar, I think. And it's a comment by this person who talks about how French Fried Girl has a body count, 2 dogs, and the individual we talked about, it was months ago, I believe, who died and whose husband, who was a supporter of Chantal's, who died and whose husband blamed bullying in part for her death. And Chantal jumped on that and said, she died defending me, like she's a fucking martyr. Like, she died defending me. And she brought that up and put it all on French Fried Girl as a body count, saying that these deaths are her responsibility. Okay. Chantal also seems to think that if you don't take the vet to the cat, it won't have a diagnosis. That's another part that didn't go through it. Chantal makes sense, never, rarely. And the idea that it was French Fried Girl's fault for the cat having arthritis because she took it to the vet to help it rather than let it linger and put it down. So Chantal was in favor of, apparently when she got back, letting the cat sit around for 3 weeks in discomfort and make an appointment 3 weeks out. You can go to fucking Petco and get your cat's claws clipped. She made 1,000 drives for, fast food, Starbucks, but for something she alleges to care about, she couldn't be bothered. She couldn't be bothered. And she's so lazy or inept that she would need Pete's to carry the cat carrier. Because he always does. You're not going to have a manservant now either. I know a hamster's a little bit lighter than 2 cats, but I'm sure you'll find a way to make it about you. So she posted a video this week, a short video, about a chicken being slaughtered, apparently. And she shows what could be considered graphic. It would probably get a viewer advised kind of thing here in the States of the animal being killed in preparation, apparently, to be food. Chantal gets crap rightfully for being mistreatful of animals, either bumbling through like she did with a hamster. I didn't know this. Nobody told me that. Did you research it or ask the pet guy? No. So it turned out bad. And then she had to concede that she was incorrect about that. Okay. But insisting her own cats didn't go to the vet because, of course, they'd have arthritis if they're. Okay, the vet diagnoses that and offers treatment. It's not just for the sake of knowing. It's not just for, oh, well, she has arthritis. It's probably harder to walk with arthritis when you're walking on your claws tucked into your paws. But that's over now because Chantal doesn't care. She got rid of them. They're not in the way. She put all her eggs in one basket about going to Kuwait. It's fine. Forget this, forget that. And you know, this isn't the chicken slaughter. There's sort of a cultural relativism thing, I guess you could say, with preparation of food and how public it is, in open markets, animals being slaughtered. I don't think people are confused about where their KFC comes from, exactly. But why is it on Chantal's channel? Of all the things that show cultural difference, showing an animal being slaughtered was the irritation and cruelty of that was the point. It was nothing to do with this is how it is here, that's how it is there. None of it. It was purely to upset people that think that she's cruel to animals. And she put on her channel something that looks like she thought was interesting. So yeah, in the minor, spectrum of things, she just filmed something and showed footage of something that's very commonplace in a lot of parts of the world. Different parts of the world disagree on what animals consist of as food. Some countries view women as property or have child brides or female genital mutilation. It seems like there's a certain view people get screwed over in every culture. But anyway, suffice it to say that those are kind of, I don't know. Makes me sick. So it was like to get more attention to her about animals because people have strong feelings about it. That was the whole thing. That's the only reason she did it. She knew what she was doing. And the cruelty is the point. It's the point to have people click on a video and then see that and have it be upsetting because she has a bone to pick with people who like animals and think that they should be treated well, I guess. Now, I'm no vegetarian. I'm no vegan. At least I didn't lie about it. I know where food comes from. I know how babies are delivered, but that doesn't mean I want to see a video of that either necessarily. So it's the context of her posting it is important. And the context she would reach for is that it's different in this culture here than there. This is true, but is this to educate the VIBs? Is this to show them something interesting? Or was it for shock value, piss people off, get people talking? It got me talking. But so it goes. So yeah, the chicken slaughter wasn't really a thing I wanted to see. And it could be explained away as a cultural thing, but she was showing it to her Western viewers, where it's not as common, maybe in rural areas it is, or people who prepare their own food from live to dead to table. But that's not a lot of us, and it was just meant to be upsetting. So, Pete's has some new digs, apparently. So Pete's was moving out of the villa, and he did last week. He's in some sort of place now that doesn't look like he's on his own. He has as private enough a space to film, I guess, so he can have his own little spot in the room where he's doing stuff. But I don't get the impression he's living alone. It's like a room to rent, maybe a floor to rent at some other place. I suspected for a bit that it was maybe even Chantal's family who tried to, because Pete's has been around them for probably 15 to 20 years, and they may see him in a sympathetic light for having spent these years with Chantal. He's kind of the martyr, because without him, she probably would have tried to live with them. So that's over and he's out. But it's going to be difficult because he had a issue with showing off something during one of his lives. Pete still go live. He does that. He has a channel, 10,000-ish subs, maybe like that. I don't know what the money looks like. I don't know what his super chat game looks like. But it's not a huge channel. It's not enough to sustain grown-up responsibilities. If you just want to live rent-free and get your groceries and a new electronic toy every so often, it's probably like that kind of money. And he holds up his phone to the camera to show something, swipes something else, shows it again, and doxes his own phone number. Doesn't realize it right away. Then his phone rings a couple of times, and people let him know, you doxed yourself. People have your number, you're gonna have to change it now. He loses his shit like a kid who didn't get snack time. I'm sure that cemented the good impression that he had made with the people he's living with now. I'm positive if they heard rabbits screaming coming from another room, they were like, yep, we did the right thing. We definitely did the right thing. And now, of course, we get to Chantal being very, very, very sick. In poor health, of course. So she, on camera, and she had sniffles and a cough and whatnot. Could be who knows what. But she isn't feeling well. And, she just traveled halfway around the world. Traveling is times you can get sick. COVID is not gone necessarily. She has a slew of health problems. And anyway, from her head to her toe, she has problems. All across. All of which are mostly related to her obesity, but she insists skinny people die of like that thing too, so it's okay. I digress. She visits a doctor's office. So he's going to take her, Sala, takes her to a doctor's office, which she has so much to say about. The place looks like a broke down travel agency in a third world country. It doesn't, she said it was very well decorated, so that must mean it's good, right? IKEA is well presented, but I wouldn't go there for surgery. So at any rate, she sees a doctor, pays $33 to see them. They order follow-up treatments. They want her to come back because what it turns out that they did identify was asthma, which is not news. She just probably needed asthma medication, breathing treatments, things like that. So she was very impressed. And I get the feeling Chantal, Sala, I blur their names together a lot. I'm sure Sala wanted to see her cared for, but do I think that he took her to the best hospital in Kuwait City? No, he probably took her to a clinic down the street. And she's like, oh, it was only $33. And it was so much. So now Kuwait has better healthcare than Canada, according to her, because everything in Kuwait's better. The air, the food, the rage, everything's better. How about the weather? It's going to be hot this summer. Kuwait can get up at 120 something. It's going to be warm. Air conditioners don't even really help at that point. They won't keep things cool. So it's interesting the way Chantal sometimes uses her rarely her mental health problems. No, she says she was depressed, so she played, like Tina Turner with a bastard for a little over a year. But that aside, when she uses her health problems like that, it's often to get attention or to distract from something else that's going on that she doesn't want to be getting attention for. So she'll do... It's with BB, it seemed to happen. It looked like tension would get high. Things didn't look great at home. And the next thing she'd be in the ER. Remember the cheese overload or the other ones that were sparks for what she said. She wanted to hurt herself. So off to the hospital we go. Now, I have been in a few psych hospitals. Don't look surprised. And I have to tell you, there's a thinking about it. And I was a drinker too. So it's add manipulative to a little crazy. And you can understand why I understand her motive sometimes. Going into the hospital like that for a psychiatric reason or whatever, staying in the ER all night, it's a way to try to get people to not think poorly of you so that they feel sympathy, pity, attention towards you, that kind of stuff. So what it's supposed to do is distract everyone from what's been going on and say, oh, this is the underlying thing. She's not really like that bad person we saw. She's just sick. Okay, so she go into the hospital and come out, and she's worse when she got back than when she went in. And physical health, I'm sure if Nader didn't care about her mental health problems, I really think Sala doesn't. I don't know if he has the capacity to get his head around the kind of issues that she probably has. She's not relevant. Those aren't relevant for him. She has a pulse and she has money and she's willing to give it to him. That's enough. That's completely enough. And she's probably getting taken for a ride by a guy 10 years younger than her and 10 times smarter, but just plays duh. Just saying. But it's kind of the little satisfaction of watching two hustlers take advantage of each other. Who wins when that happens? We do. We get to watch. It's not a bad thing. Because they're only hurting each other. Well, they're hurting other people. They're reacting and saying nasty things and trying to make other people's lives unpleasant, because that's what very happily married newlyweds do. I guess Mark and I are still in the honeymoon period. We still like each other. We still talk to each other. We still share a house. He doesn't put me in a room and then leave, locked or unlocked, alone, because he has something else to go do. So it's not the same. I mean, we're newlyweds, they're newlyweds, but it's very different. They're a heterosexual couple and they're in another part of the world. But love often is a piece of it. Even if commitment, because I know in some cultures, the commitment is the thing. Love has nothing to do with it. It's about money, it's about property, it's about status, getting out of your own status, getting into another social class. So there's a lot of other reasons people do get married here and abroad. You know, it's not like in America, we are all the most honest with our feelings and true love exists here. That's not the case necessarily for everybody. But I don't think love is at the core of their relationship. They don't look at each other like two people that love each other. It looks like they're okay, like they're acquaintances, co-workers, maybe. Feels a little more like that relationship. It's a little bit distant. She always wants to seem like it's closer than it is. Salah's not kind to her on camera when he says stuff. And not even the moon thing, because moon could be pretty. Moons can be pretty. And somebody had mentioned there is text, because I wasn't aware of that. There is text and poetry about her being as beautiful as the moon. But don't take that in isolation. Put it in the context of all the other stuff that he's said about her. And she laughs nervously because she's embarrassed, because she's telling everyone this great person loves her just the way she is and this and that. And then they make jokes that say they clearly don't like fat people. And they think other people should go kill themselves. So, yeah, Natter was no prize, but Salah's not a whole hell of a lot better. He hasn't put his hands on her as far as we know, but if he ever did, we'd never know. Probably. And what I feel this is going to turn into, or what I'm fear it's going to turn into, is we did natter. She missed all the red flags and still ended up in a mess. Okay. And then later told everyone in the chat who she was telling to fuck off that they were right, that she did miss those red flags. So start new relationship with Salah. More red flags. Blows them all off, ignores everybody. What do you want to give it? 3 months? 6 months till she comes back on? He locked me in a room. He made me get rid of my cats and cut me off from my family. Human trafficking and radicalization is a very real thing. You don't know what it's like over there. You haven't been to Kuwait. What do you mean you've been to Kuwait? You've been there? Well, you weren't in the same neighborhood I was, because I saw it differently. So, I don't know. All right, so where do we go for here? What's the kind of final thoughts with this? Well, I suspect Salah's not thrilled with her. This thing about her being isolated in a room, I couldn't figure out the lock situation. So it's different. It feels like skeleton key to me. Like when you lock it with that, you can't get the door open, period, from the outside or in without a key. I'm guessing that that's kind of what the lock system's like, except Chantal doesn't have a key. So when he goes out to lock the door, she doesn't have a way to unlock it from the inside. That's how I kind of was understanding it. Please correct below, because, you know, I think she wants people to think he locked her in there. So she backed up a little like that, because people are interested in underground turmoil between the two of them, and that would kind of betray that a little bit. Suffice it to say, when this goes south, she'll say that he kidnapped her too. Didn't Natter kidnap her and keep her from leaving one time? So it's going to happen again. What's the consistent thing? Is it the men or is it her? What's the only non-variable in all of these circumstances? Okay. So going forward, what are we looking at for next week? Well, like I said, I don't think their situation's going to get better. She'll continue to rage, I believe, because it's her way to make money now. And like I said, I'm sorry that she probably doesn't like her job now, because she has to, raging is still work. She still has to sit there and type all these community posts. Those aren't fueled by a desire to make content that's interesting, though. Those are fueled by spite, revenge, certainly never taking the high road. All she shows is that she can be the same kind of person that the people she says are cruel are. She's no better. She's a little worse because her intentions aren't always sincere. But I don't know. We'll see. Make sure the filters are handy in case you don't get better and you still have the sniffles from the camel. Idiot. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. Please do subscribe. Hit the notification bell. You'll get alerts when we have new videos and go live. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All that's in the description below. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. We're going live at 6 p.m. Eastern. Open chat, no topic, any topic. Feel free to stop by. We have good mods, and it's usually pretty chill. All right? So thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. And we'll check in with you soon, okay? Bye. Say bye, Marc. Bye.